You know, deep in the heart of modern-day Turkey, there's this landscape that honestly looks like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie. But the real marvel, the thing that'll blow your mind, isn't what you see on the surface. It's what's hidden underneath. I'm talking about entire cities carved deep, deep into the earth centuries ago. So the big question is, how on earth did they do it?
Okay, so take a look at this. At first glance, you might think it's a subway map or something, right? Nope. This is a blueprint for an ancient underground city called Derinkuyu. And when I say city, I mean a sprawling, multi-level metropolis. We're talking air shafts, wells, churches, living quarters, enough space for thousands of people, all carved by hand out of solid volcanic rock. It's a mind-boggling feat of engineering.
Which, of course, brings up the million-dollar question. How? How did an ancient society, with what we can only assume were pretty simple tools, pull something like this off? We're not talking about a couple of caves here. We're talking about an entire city built straight down into the ground.
And just so you get a sense of the scale here, the city of Derinkuyu has at least 8 floors. 8! That's plunging more than 55 meters. That's over 180 feet straight down. I mean, this wasn't just a fancy basement, it was a whole subterranean world. So, if we're going to crack this mystery, the first clue isn't hiding in some ancient text or dusty old diary. Nope, it's in the rock itself. It all starts with Cappadocia's pretty unique geology.
All right, meet the hero of our story, a special kind of rock called ignimbrite. Now, in simple terms, just imagine a volcano erupting and blanketing the entire landscape in this super thick layer of hot ash and pumice. Well, over time, that stuff cools and solidifies into this very specific type of stone. And what makes this rock so perfect for building an underground city? It has these almost magical properties. See, it's soft enough that you can carve it with pretty basic tools. No need for diamond-tipped drills or anything. But here's the kicker. Once you expose it to the air, it hardens. And on top of that, it's incredibly strong and self-supporting. That means you can carve out these massive rooms without the whole thing caving in. It's kind of like a natural concrete foam, if you can picture that. And check this out. This cross-section shows us that the ancient builders were really picky. They didn't just dig anywhere. Derinkuyu, for instance, is built into a specific layer called the Cappadocia ignimbrite. Meanwhile, the city of Kaymaklı nearby is in a different one, the Gerdelis layer. So they knew exactly which layers of this rock were the best ones for the job. But you know, the type of rock? That's only part one of the secret. Turns out, the rock itself was holding a hidden clue, a really revolutionary idea that completely changes how we think about these builders. Think back to that massive sheet of volcanic ash cooling down millions of years ago. It didn't just solidify into one giant perfect block. As it cooled, it cracked. And these natural cracks, they're called cooling joints, and they create this whole network of lines running all through the rock.
And this is where we get to this amazing hypothesis. What if the ancient builders didn't see these cracks as a flaw? Not as a problem they had to work around, but as a secret blueprint. A set of guidelines, basically handed to them by nature, on exactly how to build their cities.
Okay, that's a fantastic idea, right? But how do you actually prove something like that? Well, you do what any good scientist would do. You go in and you start measuring everything.
And that is precisely what a researcher named Mehmet Özgür Mutlu did for his thesis. He went deep inside both Derinkuyu and Kaymaklı. We're talking mapping over 100 rooms, meticulously measuring the direction of thousands of walls. And then he measured the direction of every single visible natural crack in those same rooms. It must have been painstaking work.
So, after all that work, what happens when you plot all that data? Well, the result was absolutely stunning. On the left here, you can see a chart showing the direction of the city walls, and on the right, the direction of the natural rock joints. I mean, look at that. The patterns are almost identical. There's just no way that's a coincidence. And just like that, the mystery is basically solved. We've found the ancient engineering secret, and honestly, it's even more clever than anyone could have imagined.
It looks like the builders used this ingenious 3-step method. Okay, step 1, find a natural joint. That's your blueprint. Step 2, carve right along that joint. I mean, it makes sense, right? It's way easier to dig along a line that's already a weak point. And boom, that's how you get your nice straight walls. Then step 3, and this is the truly brilliant part, they would deliberately place their big structural pillars away from the joints, making sure they were sitting on solid, uncracked rock. That gave them maximum stability.
The researcher Mutlu, he summed it up perfectly in his conclusion. He said, in order to carve the walls easily, it might have been preferred to follow the joints along the site. It's so simple, right? It's this elegant solution that's both efficient and structurally sound. Just brilliant.
And you can see this method in action right here in these diagrams from the study. These are actual rooms in Derinkuyu. The red lines, those are the natural joints in the rock. And it is clear as day, the walls, the shape of the rooms, even the doorways, they're all aligned with these natural cracks. They were literally reading the rock.
And this wasn't some one-off trick either. You look at Derinkuyu with its incredible 52 ventilation shafts, or Kaymaklı, which housed thousands of people, and they're carved in completely different layers of that ignimbrite rock. But the construction method, it was exactly the same. They were following nature's blueprint, every single time.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? Well, it's that the people who built these cities weren't just laborers blindly digging in the dark. They were brilliant, practical geologists. They had this incredibly deep understanding of their environment, and they figured out how to work with nature instead of against it, to do something that seems completely impossible.
So, there you have it, the secret of Cappadocia's underground cities. But it does leave you with one last, really fascinating thought, doesn't it? It just makes you wonder, how many other ancient impossibilities that we still puzzle over were actually just incredible feats of clever, elegant cooperation with the natural world?